Drama time. Get the popcorn, boys. Oh, this is gonna be juicy. This is my first time ever reading all of this, okay? Everyone get your Rip Bozos ready, okay? Culture of fear fostered by TSM Andy, Reginald, Din amid accusations of a toxic workplace at both TSM and Blitz. Shocking stuff, shocking stuff. All right, let's check the Washington Post. What do they have to say about this? How dare they slander the great name of Andy Din? All right, guys. The Washington Post putting TSM under a microscope. What's happening? How could they slander the great name of TSM? This organization is, their hands are clean. In March of 2021, employees at esports organization TSM were summoned to a virtual all-hands meeting to discuss the termination of the company's recently hired head of HR. Okay. To be honest, I've heard about HR being, you know how like HR is supposed to be, I've never worked in a corporate environment ever. Okay, so I don't actually know. But apparently HR is supposed to be like the employee's friend, like the employee's conduit for any sort of like workplace issues. But actually, HR is there to protect the company from like liability from the employees. So you think that they're on your side, but they're actually there to protect the company. I don't actually know how true that is. I just read that and I thought that was interesting because I had my entire life I thought it was the other way around. I don't actually really know how it works in actuality. You know, maybe it's true sometimes, maybe it's sometimes not. When the new executive was brought on board, employees' early reaction was positive. Everyone was super excited to finally have someone in HR who seemed to really understand the employees, said one former TSM employee. But just weeks after the new executive assumed his role as head of people operation, TSM's human resources analog, employees learned that he had been let go after an apparent disagreement with Andy Din, the organization's CEO and founder, over a recruitment practice the new executive wanted to implement. During a question and answer portion of the all-hands call, one employee asked Din to explain what had prompted the firing. That was when Andy told the whole company that the HR person was let go because he had a question that Andy didn't like, said a former TSM employee. I think he kind of realized how ridiculous it sounded. So he followed up by saying, well, he has 2 questions that I didn't like. No one wants to ask any questions after that. I mean, dude, that's simple as that, dude. You ask some questions, the guy didn't like it. You're fired. I don't see the problem. The boss man gets to decide whether you have a job. I mean, that's how TSM got so successful in the first place. Just this very macho alpha attitude, dude. Since 2009, Din has built TSM into one of the premier esports organizations in the world, competing in a variety of esports and Actually, wait, let's get back to this whole questions thing. Dude, literally the entire time that I was on TSM, every single time Andy came into the room, there was like no joking around. There was no, like, we wanted to communicate with him as little as possible because the guy's like mentally unstable and like you don't know what's going to set him off and piss him off that day. So like the real sauce at working at TSM is anytime Andy enters the room, you smile and nod and you say as little as fucking possible. Because if you ever engage in a conversation with him and you piss him off, like it's fucking over for you. That's exactly how it was on our team. Like when he was doing our like coaching us for playoffs, even though he didn't know shit about the game. And it was like embarrassing. But you know, if you disagree with him, you're fucked. He's gonna make your life horrible. He made our coach's life legit awful. Like they're like so stressed out they would like go for walks in the middle of the day, 2 hours. Anytime you're going for more than a 15-minute walk, if it's a 2-hour walk, guys, you're not mentally well. Okay, if you're doing that every single day, you're not mentally well. Since 2009, Din has built TSM into one of the premier esports organizations in the world. Competing in a variety of esports and partnering with popular streamers, TSM was labeled by Forbes as the most valuable esports organization at an estimated $410 million in 2020. The following year, the company inked a 10-year naming rights deal with the cryptocurrency exchange FTX for $210 million. Yeah, I heard FTX is really not happy with this partnership now. However, allegations of workplace abuse have long circulated around the 30-year-old founder. In videos dating back almost a decade, Din can be seen yelling at TSM's esports athletes. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That behavior extended far beyond the esports teams, though, according to over a dozen current and former employees of companies founded and run by Din who spoke with the Washington Post. Yeah. I think the videos, I was like always iffy about bringing up 10-year-old videos of someone acting like a total douchebag. But I think it does plant the seed of like, well, okay, you know, did that person change? Because like people can change over 10 years. I'm glad that they kind of tied that back in well to what's happening now. Because it's like, dude, you can bring up 10-year-old videos of literally anybody acting like a total asshole. But I think like the usual like thought process behind it is like, oh, that was me then. This is me now. I'm different now. So it's not fair to bring up But actually, it is fair if you didn't change. So that's good that they kind of were able to articulate that well. Members of teams ranging from sales to programming to content said they witnessed other workers get called out by Din in calls or intra-office chat rooms and publicly shamed. Some said they experienced that treatment firsthand. Nobody wanted to be in a one-on-one meeting with Andy because you had no witnesses, said Anthony Barnes, a former... That's just too funny, bro. That's so fucking funny. It's like you're getting taken out in a fucking back alley and shot in the head. You need witnesses. Like, you want to get yelled at in broad daylight. Oh god. A former senior program manager at Blitz. I mean that literally. Who knew if Andy was going to scream or yell at you, degrade you, be friendly, or just be confused or inquisitive? You weren't sure what Andy you were going to get. Yo, that's exactly what I just said. And I'm not even kidding, guys. This is my first time reading this article. You can tell that what this guy's saying is real because, like, everybody who's fucking worked with him will tell you the same shit. Like, he's literally a psycho. But the more people on the call, the more likely Andy wasn't going to be a complete volcano. Okay. Maybe slightly, yes. Furthermore, multiple workers at Los Angeles-based TSM and Blitz, a company co-founded by Din that develops a coaching and statistics tracking app for gamers, believe they were misclassified as contractors rather than employees. The distinction between employees and contractors defines, among other things, how a worker is paid and the benefits to which they're entitled, as well as what taxes are owed by the employer. Misclassifying employees as contractors, in turn, would run afoul of California employment laws, which are some of the strictest in the United States, according to legal experts. We won't be commenting on confidential personnel issues, especially complaints made by anonymous individuals who feel they were misclassified in their employment status, TSM and Blitz spokesperson Jillian Sheldon told the Post. Imagine doing PR for fucking TSM right now. Or like ever. You're just getting exposed for being dog shit every week. It's so funny. Like, this is probably one of the worst jobs known to man. That was a good picture of me, honestly. My skin looks great. My hair game's on point as well. Okay, late last year, both the Riot Games, which operates League of Legends esports, and TSM began separate investigations into allegations of bullying and verbal abuse made against Din, as first reported by Wired. The investigations began shortly after me, Eliang Doublelift Peng, a former star player of the organization, described Din as a bully who gets away with being a bad person because he's powerful in a live stream. Facts, true, based. Most of the employees who spoke with the Post did so on the condition of anonymity, citing fear of retaliation. See, this is actually what I will tell you guys. Like, when this whole thing came out and I was getting like flamed super hard for being like making something out of nothing, and like, guys, how fucking often I would not like really go in and put my entire like life at fucking risk by like pissing off like a super powerful person who has so much influence in the scene that I'm in if I didn't truly believe that I was doing the right thing. And I got fucked over for trying to do the right thing. Like, I think people definitely were Andy Din, like fucking Reginald apologists. I still think there are some out there, but I think you'd have to be in like the crazy minority now to actually think that like he is innocent, or that like this is just like baseless accusations. Like, you know, there's so much evidence now, but at the time there was not as much evidence. And I think the reason why a lot of people were afraid to back me up publicly is because of the fear of retaliation. For a lot of people who aren't in my very fortunate position, you have a job in the industry, and if you piss off one of the most powerful, if you piss off your boss and he finds out that you've been ratting on him, or if you piss off somebody who's friends with your boss, like let's say your boss is friends with Andy or has business connections with Andy, that retaliation is literally going to cost you your job. And you don't know if you're ever going to get back into esports, you know, because it's so volatile. It's so stressful. It's just not worth it. Like, why would you ever risk that? So a lot of people came out and told me privately, like, I'm happy. I'm so glad that you spoke up. You know, what you said is 100% true. And I would give you credibility if I could, but, you know, I can't because I'm afraid of retaliation. And then that felt bad for me because I felt like I was like kind of the bait for a lot of people. Like, I gave a lot of people the feeling of like, nice, now this guy's going to get fucked, but I'm getting fucked too. And it felt bad to get screwed so hard by the community for a while and be under like so much stress from it, because people are calling me a liar. People are calling me like, you know, egotistical. Like, why would you make all this stuff up? It's not that bad. And then, you know, what Leena went through is like, it's awful. And then people are telling her, oh no, you didn't actually go through that. You're just exaggerating, and it feels really terrible for both of us. So it felt really bad that like a lot of the people in the industry aren't allowed to, or like weren't able to like step up and give us some credibility because they're afraid of retaliation. I think like now that like so many things have come out about TSM and about fucking Andy, it feels a lot better because, you know, we can like openly talk about it and we're not just being called like, oh my God, you're being such a baby. That didn't happen. Definitely sucks to piss off like people who are powerful. Like I said, you know, you get away with it because you're powerful. If this was a fucking janitor at TSM, everyone would be like, yeah, that guy's a douchebag. But it's the guy who owns fucking 100 people's jobs. Many specifically highlighted fear of reprisal from Din, citing his temperament and influence in the esports industry. Okay, yeah, that is exactly right. TSM shared a statement with the Post, echoing its statement to Wired in January. As we stated publicly late last year, upon learning of allegations against Mr. Din, TSM immediately hired an independent investigator to begin a thorough internal investigation, reads the statement. Andy recused himself of any oversight of the scope, nature, and conclusions of the investigation. Those results are pending. Until finalized, we can't comment on the specifics. Nice, man. We've investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. Yeah, trust me, dude. The fucking owner? The guy who's like a legit psycho? No, dude, like he's for sure not touching the investigation. Yeah, actually, like what Leena just wrote, right? Like everyone who left after Leena, so Max, the guy who created TSM Legends, Andrew, who took over the torch and was like making all of TSM's content for the last 5 years, Parth, who was working at TSM since 2014 and was like part of the roster building for like fucking 9 years of the organization and coaching. Everybody who left TSM after Leena shouted out Leena and didn't say a word about Andy. Like the silence is sometimes deafening. They don't need to outwardly say that Andy Din is a fucking douchebag. The fact that they shout out Leena during all the controversy and like leaving so close after, right? Like it's, yeah, I mean like one of TSM's biggest content creators. I'm telling you guys, like it feels so good that there's so much evidence now. There's really nothing that a shitty person can say to excuse himself from this kind of stuff. Yeah, I think Leena was definitely the heart of the team, 100%. I mean, look at TSM now, guys. It's in fucking shambles. I feel like I'm almost beating a dead horse because it's like so disgusting how far TSM has fallen. They don't have any respect in like the league scene anymore. You know, I don't really know too much about the other scenes. I think TSM is still doing strong in Apex. Just we're not really that connected to Apex League players. They're probably doing fine in like Rainbow Six or like, I think their Valorant team was kind of always mid for a while, and now they're still mid, so doesn't really change too much. Some workers at TSM and Blitz told the Post they made a policy of not speaking in meetings with Din for fear of angering him. Yep, exactly what I said. On several occasions, the target of Din's outbursts, which often included high-ranking staff at the company, were fired or departed shortly thereafter, throwing projects and entire teams into flux, according to numerous former TSM and Blitz employees. Sheldon said TSM could not comment on these departures since they related to confidential internal personnel matters. Interesting. The number of executives that were let go is massive, one former TSM employee said. If I was a VP, I would not want to be working there. The result of these departures, that former TSM employee said, was a culture of fear fostered by the young CEO. In response to questions sent to the Post, TSM shared Din's statement to Wired, which was published in January. I have exceedingly high expectations for myself, and I share those same high expectations with everyone I work with, reads the statement. I have zero tolerance for underperformance. I am intense, passionate, driven, and relentless in the pursuit of winning. It's my nature. I set an extremely high bar, and when I feel that someone is not delivering, I directly and bluntly share that feedback. Yeah. Clueless. I do acknowledge that when I look back, that my vocabulary was at times too harsh and ineffective. I know I need to work on my delivery, and I am working to improve the way I communicate with my team and those around me. I support and am fully cooperating with the independent investigations that are already underway and will gladly embrace any recommendations from the investigators. Yeah, have you tried not verbally abusing your employees on a daily basis? I could give you one recommendation. Maybe like not driving your employees to tears every single day at every meeting could be one way to improve your communication style. The statement rankled some TSM employees. It's funny that his most recent quote was, I have high expectations, because I think his expectations are just ridiculous, said a former TSM employee. Andy would come in after everyone would work super hard and just say, that's not what I want. We were basically chasing after this goal of trying to read his mind. It was honestly one of the worst run companies I've ever been in, Barnes said. Oh shit, this is so funny, dude. You know, I don't really know how fucking actually I don't even want to bring fucking Joe Marshall's name into this because I don't really know anything about T1, but there's a way to be direct and blunt without literally shitting on someone's entire fucking sense of self and personality and everything that they do and calling them a fucking ugly little stupid gremlin. I think that is kind of lost on this guy. I don't think he lives on planet Earth. I think he lives on Planet CEO. Planet evaluated at $400 million company that I founded, so I can do whatever I want. Andy Din co-founded TSM with his brother Dan Din in 2009. Nearly a decade later, he founded Blitz with Adil Virani, another TSM employee. Both companies work out of a 25,000 square foot facility in Los Angeles. Wait a sec. I thought they bought Blitz. This is wrong, right? They didn't found Blitz. Blitz app was the thing way before it was acquired by TSM. Because I heard about it. It's just random fucking thing. It's just like I knew about Blitz being one of those competing apps because like I think I was doing something with u.gg at the time. I don't really remember, but like yeah. Both the companies work out of a 25,000 square foot facility in Los Angeles in an announcement video released in April 2020. The company touted the $50 million space as the most expensive gaming facility in the world. TSM and Blitz have 123 full-time employees. What a nice number. While the number of contractors varies, turn off this music. The former workers described the atmosphere at TSM and Blitz as startup-like, where hierarchies were fluid and staff was expected to wear many hats at once. But experts who reviewed contracts for some former workers at both companies believe that the categorization of those workers as contractors may have run counter to California labor law. I would not be surprised if the state felt that it was a misclassification, says Brandon Huffman, a founding attorney at Odin Law and Media, a firm specializing in video games technology and media, after reviewing contracts between TSM and two former workers. Two contractors' tenures at TSM and Blitz exemplifies the company's approaches to contracting. One former Blitz contractor who worked remotely recalled being told they couldn't be brought on as a full-time employee because they were working from outside of the state. They said they were expected to work a standard 40-hour work week and report to work at 9 a.m. Eventually, they said they moved to California anticipating full-time employment. They were basically telling me that you need to be in California if you want your career to go forward. And I said, oh, well, I'm making the move to California. Could we possibly talk about making me an employee now that I've been working 40 hours a week full-time for 6 months, the former contractor said. What kind of happened is they left me in the dust, basically. After another half year of contracting from California, the contractor was let go from the company. TSM declined to comment on the workers' characterization of their time at Blitz. Wow, that's fucked up. There's so many reasons why you wouldn't want to bring somebody on as full-time employee. It's like the company has to take care of that person differently. I think like they have to provide like certain, oh, what's up, Joe Marsh? Is this actually the real Joe Marsh? CEO of T1. Yo, what's up, dude? Finally, a real CEO in here. Fuck, everyone's just spamming base. Yo, how's it going, bro? I'm gonna VIP this guy. Let me know if you have any comments. I know that we might be fearing some legal retaliation here, but you know, memes are always welcome. Yeah, TSM just treats its workers like total shit. It's really just all about, you know, how terribly can you possibly treat somebody before they like have a mental breakdown. It's a bit of a game at TSM, and they do pretty good at that, including, I guess, literally violating labor laws and like fucking over their employees like this. Good times, good times. How about treat your employees like humans challenge? Impossible. YouTube video. That would be a banger on the TSM YouTube. All right, the stringent legal tests in California, the ABC tests and the manner and means test, also known as the Doublelift test, set an exceedingly high bar for someone to be categorized as a contractor working for a company based in the state. According to employment lawyers who spoke with the Post, the ABC test, for example, says that for a worker to be classified as a contractor, they must meet 3 criteria. First, the worker must be free from direction from their employer, meaning they can set their own schedule, work without supervision, and use their own tools. Interesting. That definitely didn't happen for that person. They also have to do work that is meaningfully different from that done by employees and dissimilar from hiring companies' usual business practices. Finally, the contractor needs to have an independently established business through which they do the kind of work for which they've been contracted. That seems so fucking narrow. Like, that is so many requirements to be classified as a contractor. I did not know that. It is up to the employer to prove that all 3 of these criteria are met if they classify someone as a contractor, legal experts said. Further still, signing a contract that identifies a worker as a contractor does not legally make them one in California. Another contractor, excited to work in esports, signed on to join TSM's content team. They worked from the company's Playa Vista office in what was functionally a producer role, liaising with talent and talent managers, securing venues and coordinating schedules. To that end, they recalled frequently receiving phone calls as late as midnight. No matter what I was doing, I was on the clock, they said. At first, it was exciting when I was young and I was happy working in esports. The longer it went, the more, I started to experience some burnout and it felt kind of exhausting. Eventually, they felt that the pay, more than $5,000 below the $54,000 legal annual minimum for someone designated as a contractor in California in 2020, wasn't commensurate with the work. But efforts to secure full-time employment kept hitting dead ends. How is that legal? What? There's no way. Go ahead, try yourself in the market, see how you do, said the contractor, characterizing the manager's response to a request for a raise. If you don't think somebody else will be willing to do your job for this amount of money, then go ahead and be my guest. That is so disgusting. I said, sure, go ahead. Find some kid you're going to underpay, but it's not going to be me. Oh, Gigi Chad. Good fucking answer, bro. Good fucking answer. I hope that wasn't one of those answers that he or she thought of in the shower later, crying at the club. Like, fuck, I should have said that. And then Washington Post comes up. It's like, so what did you say? And he's like, I've been cooking this one up for years. Experts who reviewed this producer's contract said the fact they were paid on a monthly basis raised concerns about the worker's designation as a contractor. The government views anything other than pay based on milestone/completion as more like an employee than a contractor, said Huffman, the Odin law and media attorney. Paying a per month rate looks like a salaried employee rather than a contractor paid for deliverables. Yeah, no, definitely, guys, no, there can't be any name dropping because these people feel retaliation. Like, this person was literally making less than $50,000, and like, depending on where you're from, that could be a lot, but we live in LA. $50,000 is a year. 50K a year is like fucking, it's like the fucking poverty line. Like, you're probably barely able to pay the bills with this amount of income. And like, imagine you're screwed because you pissed off Andy Din, and he told his butt buddies, like, yeah, fuck this guy. Don't hire this guy. He's a piece of shit worker. He's terrible. He'll whistleblow on your shitty practices too. And his buddy's like, yeah, fuck that guy. If this guy doesn't get a job and he's already living on like a fucking month-to-month basis, barely making ends meet, he's apparently getting paid $5,000 2 years ago under the minimum wage. Yeah, he's gonna be fucked. So why would you ever like risk your livelihood like that? It's horrible. Yeah, I mean, we live in LA, guys. I think that's one thing that you have to understand. Like, things are just, the money that goes a long way for you is not going to go a long way in LA. Things are just so much more expensive here. Like, I live in like a pretty decent apartment. It's $5,000 a month. It's a fucking lot. Okay, that's $60K a year just to like live in an apartment. I know that I could share with someone, but still. Employment lawyers who spoke with the Post explained that beyond just taxes, I mean, you guys can kind of see how big my apartment is, right? It's not particularly big. It's decent. It's a good apartment. I don't think everyone could like live in this place, but I'm just giving you guys an example. Like, stuff is really expensive. Spoke Post explained that just beyond taxes at the state and federal level, there are meal, rest, and overtime laws that apply to employees but not contractors in California. Violation of these could result in legal scrutiny and subsequent penalties. I really hope TSM gets fucked for this. Like, I really hope they get fucked for this, because there's a difference between being a piece of shit and being a bully and being an abusive boss who's constantly threatening to fire your, underlings because they're not like worthy of being treated like humans. They're not worthy of being treated with respect. There's like a difference between being that and, potentially going to court for that, for just being like fostering an abusive workplace and being an abusive boss. And I feel like the other like legal repercussions, like this is kind of like another substantial piece to it, where not only are they treating them like shit, like emotionally and verbally, they're actually just treating them like shit in terms of employment law. That just feels like there's more meat to it now. And I didn't really know about this because obviously as a pro player, I'm under contract, and it's a totally different part of the company. But I really hope they get fucked for this, assuming that it's true. You already know Andy's going to threaten to sue me again. One former contractor in TSM's content department described working with approximately 8 other contractors on a day-to-day basis. There is a parade of horribles that come from misclassification, said Robin Colton, a California employment law attorney. There are so many laws that apply when you have an employee that do not apply when you have an independent contractor that you may or may not think about at first. What a terrible sentence. That was a really run-on sentence. The employers think that they're saving money, and they are in the short term because they are not paying certain employment taxes. And they don't have to abide by all the insurance requirements and the wage and hour laws, Colton said. But if they get caught, it gets really ugly. In time, though, both contractors realized that the safety net of full-time employment at TSM and Blitz was illusory. Some people who had salaries would be fired the next day just on the snap of a finger, said the remote contractor who moved to California. So it kind of just didn't really matter either way. I'm afraid of being fired. The startup-like atmosphere at Din's two companies meant that processes that would be standard at other companies, such as onboarding for new workers, or a system for employees to improve or respond after receiving negative feedback, were often absent. Sheldon disputed this characterization, saying TSM and Blitz have specific procedures in place to handle any issues. The result was what TSM and Blitz employees characterized as a dramatic turnover rate. And yeah, I mean, like, guys, in the last year, think about how many people have left TSM, and in the next year, think about how many more people will continue to leave TSM. Like, there's some rotten shit happening at the top. Everyone's favorite people leave. Okay, everyone's favorite people leave. Like, who at TSM can you even cheer for right now as a league fan? Not the executives. The executives are trash. Speaka. Tactical, good-natured kids, good stuff, man. Shenyi streaming all the time, love it. You know, the players, sure, but the players don't characterize the company anymore. Yeah, maybe you can cheer for Xmithie, you know, but like, all the people at the top are fucking, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, rotten people. Besides the human resource executive, they pointed to the sudden departures of multiple VPs at both companies, as well as several managers and team leaders. At TSM, the VP of Programmatic Sales lasted just over 1 year at the company. At Blitz, a VP of Design lasted 8 months. One VP of Product at Blitz lasted a mere 4 months in the role. In many cases, departures went unexplained and unremarked upon, former TSM and Blitz workers said, with the notable exception of the all-hands meeting that followed the departure of the HR executive. Sometimes workers told the Post they would stumble upon their coworkers' deactivated Slack accounts or find emails to department heads bouncing back and piece things together. Oh, I see what they're saying. So like, people would just get fired and no one knows why, and then you just have to like fucking pick up where they left off and like go into their fucking old Slack accounts to like figure out what the fuck they were working on and like try to continue their legacy after they got fired because they probably like looked in fucking Andy's direction in a way that he didn't like. Jesus. That's crazy. People are just getting fired left and right. Not only are people getting fired, but people are also leaving because they see everyone else getting fired. They're like, what the fuck? Who's next? I don't want to get taken out back and shot. A number of the employees at TSM and Blitz who were witnessed leaving the company after disagreements with Din declined to comment for this story or did not respond to the Post's repeated requests for comment. This is where like being fearful of retaliation comes in. It's just like they want to wash their hands of it and leave because that's in the past and they don't feel like there's anything to gain. But I think there is something to gain to expose somebody for being a terrible person, you know, for there to be actual consequences so that the person doesn't continue to do that forever. You know, there's a real good end for all this stuff, which is the shitty people in the space get called out and they get driven out of the space. And then our entire fucking community is a better place for it. And there's not people being abused at work. There's higher standards, and it's okay to talk about stuff when you're getting fucked over at work. And just generally, it's going to be a happier and nicer place. Like, esports is going to be a nicer place so that you don't look like, you know how the fucking community sometimes is like, you know, somebody will snarkily type on Reddit like, yeah, it just goes to show that all these esports companies are just founded and run by little kids. You know, it has to be that 45-year-old boomer who says that. And like, in a way, it's kind of true. But I think like I'm gonna have a little bit of copium here. I think that there's probably really horrible working conditions in every industry, but the point is that like we're trying to improve that and call it out so that it doesn't keep happening and people don't continuously have to like be stressed out about their job. So yeah, I mean, I think it could be like we could be going towards a happy ending because of stuff like this. Like, I definitely want people to be treated well at work. Yeah, a number of employees at TSM who witnessed blah, 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 declined or did not respond. Yeah, so that's the fear of retaliation. But TSM and Blitz workers who spoke with the Post were able to recount many details surrounding these departures, which often played out in a remarkably public fashion across open Slack and Discord channels, in person and in sight of witnesses, or on video conferences, including numerous employees. Oh yeah, public shaming is a classic. I had seen other people contradicting either Blitz co-founder Adil or Andy and being mysteriously fired a couple days later. It was definitely not a company where conflict led to good things. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny, dude. I mean, it's terrible, but it's also funny. Some TSM and Blitz employees describe teaming up. It's like funny because it's like comically evil. I just imagine like in a cartoon, some dude twirling his mustache, you know, cat in his lap, like fucking Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Just cartoonishly evil. Okay, so they describe teaming up with coworkers to take calls with Din so as to avoid one-on-one meetings with the CEO. Others deliberately organize their days and reporting structures in order to speak primarily with other executives and managers rather than Din. Still, they said Din's behavior was hard to avoid. In public chat channels, Din sometimes called out entire teams for work he deemed bad or wrong. Sometimes he would zero in on specific workers, calling them incompetent in public channels or warning other employees not to trust information coming from particular people in the company. His frustrations could often be difficult to work around, former employees say. As CEO, Din frequently dropped in on meetings. Quite literally, I'd say every other meeting, one former Blitz contractor said. In one instance, he joined a Blitz design call on his phone while hiking to a lodge during a ski outing. According to Barnes, the CEO grew increasingly irate as the call went on, repeatedly characterizing the work as worthless and a waste of time. Efforts to seek clarification about Din's complaints or to explain that the work aligned with previously approved design standards only appeared to frustrate him further. I mean, that's just the way it is, man. Like one day, like 1 minute, he'll be completely normal, and the next minute he'll just literally like lose his fucking mind. Scream at you, call you worthless, wasting time, incompetent, can't trust anything that you say, don't even know why you work here, don't know why I pay you, what do I pay you for if you're gonna be doing this? And it's like, wait, what? I swear to God, like, didn't we just agree that that was what you wanted? And doing this in front of other employees too, which is just horrible. Just absolutely so demeaning and disrespectful and just so dehumanizing to make someone feel so worthless in front of their employees. He took the call where we're screening, sharing detailed design information and mock-ups on his phone, Barnes said. By that medium, that's going to be inherently challenging. I wouldn't make that decision, or I would be cognizant that would impair my ability to make decisions and evaluations. Andy didn't seem to do either or value doing so. I mean, that's because if he did that, he would have to admit that his brain could be impaired by anything, but he doesn't. Like, he doesn't ever think that it's even 1% possible that he could be wrong or that he could be incompetent and just have to defer like an area of knowledge that he doesn't know about to someone else who knows better than him, because that would require him to think of somebody else as like smarter than him, or to be aware of himself, or to drop his ego. So of course it couldn't happen. Like, of course it would never happen. In late 2020, after TSM's Valorant squad lost the finals of that game's first Strike North America tournament, Din sat in on numerous work calls and verbally tore down some of the speakers and the updates they were presenting, according to one attendee. In one meeting, for example, while reviewing work he had assigned a few weeks prior, Din started questioning why the work was being presented at all, saying it wasn't a good use of anyone's time, according to the attendee. Andy has obviously always had a short temper, said the attendee who worked at Blitz, but that day you could tell something was different because it was like he was hunting. Like, if you talked too much during that meeting, you were just reamed and ripped apart as much as possible, especially if you were even higher up. I mean, this is just that's what happens when he's on a power trip, you know? It's a classic power trip, right? Like, anybody else thinks that they're like worthy of speaking in my presence, it better be some major dick sucking or kiss assing, because if it's not, I don't even know why you're even worthy of like speaking or voicing your opinion in front of me. It's such a classic power trip to just feel like nobody else. It should just be me and like a whole bunch of weaklings, a bunch of yes men. Because if it's anybody with an opinion that even like 1% differs from mine, it's offensive to me. Bronze mental. Oh shit, bro. Din's outbursts made employees unwilling to speak up in meetings or bring bad news to their managers. There were definitely a lot of times where I was afraid of bringing up points that Adil would be unhappy about, one former Blitz employee said, referring to Blitz's co-founder. I was a little bit afraid of being let go because I had seen that happen around me. I was very loud as I was leaving, a former contractor said. I distinctly remember being in a call with my manager being like, I have all these problems with how our teams to run. And he was like, why didn't you bring this up sooner? And I was like, I'm afraid of being fired. The esports industry's frontier-like quality drew a number of workers to Blitz and TSM, but that Wild West quality has its downsides. And some of the former employees who spoke with the Post have since left esports. I can't recall it. Dude, that is so funny because Leena said that she's like, doesn't want to work in esports anymore. I know that like so many of my friends who have left TSM, specifically TSM, are like, just don't want to work in esports because they're so burned from this experience that they're so jaded and the experience was just so awful. They don't want to work in esports anymore, but it's just such a common thing for former TSM employees to feel that way. And I don't think that happens anywhere else. Like I know a lot of people from my time at Team Liquid, when they move on from Team Liquid, they're happy to work in esports still. You know, they're so excited because they still have the passion and it wasn't completely stomped on. I can't recall any instances where I really felt any sense of compassion or genuine interest in the well-being of the employees there. One former Blitz employee said, I did not get the sense that they care about people. Good times, good times. I wanted to go back to this part right here where people are afraid of bringing up problems. People are being conditioned to not like bring up any issues, right? Because they're so afraid for their job that they actually can't do their job because they're so afraid of being let go for doing their job. And part of doing your job is to bring up issues and to work with your boss and with your colleagues on stuff. And the fact that there's just like there's no job security if you do talk to your boss. There's no job security if you talk to fucking executives at the company. You can tell based on this culture of how impossible it is for people to work and do their job that like you can tell that TSM has fallen so hard because of that. It's like this invisible feeling of just like, oh, TSM is kind of like checked out now. I feel like everyone in the league community kind of feels that way of just like, ugh, you know, what happened? You know, it's so limp there. It's so fucking flaccid. You don't get the feeling that there's a lot of care anymore. That you don't get the feeling that there's a lot of passion, that there's like any sort of effort being really put in, you know, because people can't do their jobs. People just are like sitting there fucking cowering in fear, like, oh my God, like I'm gonna fucking get fired if I say anything. Like I'm gonna do, you know, anything that I can just to pay the bills. I was gonna read the comments now. That was a long article, boys. That was a long fucking article. Oh, good times, good times. So this is actually, who is Chrissy? She's on content? I didn't really work. I don't think I even really ever met her. Maybe I did. I wanted to bring up this string of tweets because she's apparently a contractor who worked on the TSM content team as a producer. So, you know, pretty solid middle management type role. When I worked at TSM, I was called back from a family dinner, a dinner for celebrating my engagement to my then fiance in his hometown, to handle a video being recalled due to a sponsor discrepancy at 8 p.m. at night. I missed my engagement dinner for a YouTube video. I was misclassified as a contractor and fulfilled the duties of a full-time employee. I routinely worked 11 plus hours a day with 0 overtime pay, no benefits, and no bonuses, all taxes out of my own pocket. This article barely scratches the surface of how difficult it was. I'm tired of being scared of speaking up about an org that literally treated us like cogs in a machine. I love every single one of the people I worked with at TSM that were not on the leadership team. They are fantastic people, every single one of them. The players, content creators, and external staff were also great. Also Leena. But the leadership was awful. Oh, I like that she put in also Leena, because I think everyone who worked with Leena definitely appreciates Leena. Leena was a good part of TSM. That is funny. I did not expect this to blow up. Anyway, esports has a long way to go in terms of creating inclusive, respectful, and equitable workplaces. Most orgs don't even have HR. Choose the cultures that fit your needs. The TSM profit at all costs philosophy was not for me. This guy, straight dumbass, says, why didn't you just say no, forehead? Yeah, dude, why didn't you just say no, dumb fuck? I was the only person in my family earning an income. I had rent and bills to pay. I didn't have a choice. Yeah, dude, how about you think for like 1 millisecond about why you wouldn't just say no to your boss? Just don't work, forehead. Yep, just find a new job. Like, this is like classic, like I've never had a job before. It's so oh shit, Joe, thank you for the 50 gifted, bro. Holy shit, Pog. Oh my god, bro, like this is such one of those like just one brain cell take. So funny. Yo, thank you to the person who linked this. Great backup to the article. We're gonna go to the Reddit comments now and just see what people have to say about it. Irosa, thanks to the prime. Yeah, Mars, Joe Mars, you're a fucking homie, dude. Thank you. Oh, let's Reginald's response. Okay, let's see. Just to make sure things are clear so people don't speculate. I'm very hands-off on day-to-day operations, so I want to make sure there's context. Previous to letting go of our head of HR, I met with this person once for an interview. I was also not his direct manager. 3, the first work interaction was that this person emailed our executive team to ask for recommendations on hiring for a competing organization. Generally, the first task they should put together is a 30-60-90. I told X person that it was not a good use of time and that they should focus on building trust within the organization. X person did not agree, and I did think it was a good use of time. They thought it would be a good use of time to recruit for another company because by building strong relationships with other companies, it would naturally help us if we needed help from other recruiters at other companies. What is this formatting? How do you go back to 1? What is happening? 3 over here, 1 over here? Like, is his brain melted? I'm so confused. This person didn't realize that the other company was a competitor. 2, there was also a lot of things that needed to be done. This showed a lack of prioritization. I didn't think approach was effective or would work long term, so I thought it would be best to part ways sooner rather than later. I will do a complete AMA once our investigation is done and happy to talk about anything point by point as I really have nothing to hide. That's the biggest cap in the whole world. That's the biggest cap in the whole world, that he has nothing to hide. Will do an AMA once investigation is complete. Isn't this literally like one paragraph of the article that he's addressing? And he doesn't even address it well. He does it in like the most inarticulate and like haphazard way possible, where he doesn't even really address the point, but the point of that piece of the article is 1 paragraph out of like 20 paragraphs. Okay, so let's see here. In car, so typing on phone, apologies for typos. Hey, at least you're not hiking to a ski lodge. Okay, so this is actually the reporter right here. This is the guy who wrote the article. We had hoped to interview for the story, maybe someday, Giga Chad. Of course he's not gonna be interviewed for this article, dude. He's sitting there with his team of lawyers right now watching my stream, asking his lawyers if it's viable to sue me for fucking disparagement over this stream I'm doing right now, guys. Like, he's sitting there crying. He's so furious. He's talking to his lawyers like, what can I do, man? How can I get this guy to stop talking about me? Yeah, I still have the letter of when he threatened to sue me for the first time, dude. It's so insanely crazy. It's like I called him out for being a bully who silences like the voices of his like underlings, and then he tries to threaten to sue me for disparaging his company. And then I had to talk to my lawyers and ask them like, is this shit real? Like, am I actually getting sued for liquidated damages? And they're like, usually the guy will threaten to sue you to shut you up. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I guess I'll shut up about it. You know, like I'm not going to risk my entire livelihood and go through like a fucking months-long court case because I already made my point. You know, I don't need to keep beating a dead horse. It's just so crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, he's sitting there with his lawyers right now trying to cook up a way to get out of this one. Doesn't it exactly bring home my point that he's a bully? The fact that he would bully me to stop talking about the whole situation? It is actually just too perfect. You couldn't write a better fucking series of events. You were given this information in advance of the article being published to make a statement with details on the specifics being mentioned. You chose not to comment and instead clarified in a Reddit comment, then through the actual author of this article. Is there a particular reason you choose this outlet? You use this outlet rather than responding in advance and getting ahead of it? He wasn't sure. Dude, it's because the guy doesn't know how to communicate. Like, he is about as good at fucking communicating as like a fucking dog is at using opposable thumbs. Like, it doesn't make any sense to him. Communicating doesn't happen in his brain. Like, it's seriously, it's a mystery. He's an F-, a 0 out of 100 at communicating every single time. Like, of course he's not going to be effective at communicating. It's the worst thing that he could possibly be good at. All right, he wasn't sure this approach was effective at working long term, so he addressed it in Reddit comment. I'll tell you guys exactly why he chose to address it in a Reddit comment, and r seems limited. It's because this subreddit is his echo chamber where a bunch of yes men are not going to completely shit on him for everything that he says and are actually brainwashed enough into believing that he's a good person. Like, of course he's going to go specifically on the r/team solo mid subreddit type a barely coherent paragraph about why he did 1% of the article and try to justify it. And then he's going to be like, cue the fucking applause. Like, you know, where's the welcome wagon, dude? Where's the fan meet, dude? I'm here for pictures all day. I'll be here all week. Like, of course he's going to do that because this is the safe space for him. And even in his safe space, he's just massively getting shit on. It's so fucking funny. Woodbuck response. Sounds about right. I was paid equivalent of 42K a year to be head coach of the LoL team. I worked 16 hours a day and was made to feel guilty if I tried to take 5 minutes at any point during the day to step away to call my girlfriend, now wife. When I struggled to manage a few player personalities, Andy in part told me this was professional sports and major leagues and how I wasn't limited to the quality of a major league coach. Guys, you're paying me, someone with no esports experience, $42,000 a year, and it's my first month. You kind of get what you pay for. I was also an independent contractor and was required to live in their gaming house. Woodbuck from the top rope. Reginald is absolutely an abusive douchebag. I am actually surprised it's gone on for so long. Because TSM fans were willing to overlook videos of such abuse for years because, well, TSM? Yeah, and I think that's what really sucks about having a toxic community is like the community really dictates the culture of the fans. And like when you see everyone else being okay with something like this and looking the other way, then if you're a TSM fan, you're more inclined to look the other way because that's what's being upvoted and that's what's the kind of like the viewpoints that you're exposed to. It's not that surprising that it's gone on for this long because I can still remember like the amount of pushback that I felt when I first talked about it and how people just like straight up didn't believe me, thought that I was making shit up, thought that I was exaggerating, you know, like, oh, that didn't actually happen. You're just salty. You're just mad because you're not playing for TSM. It's like, dude, you're fucking griefing your ass off. You think that I would want to work for this person? Like, yeah, dude, I'm so mad that I don't get to work for Reginald anymore. It's crazy, man. And I was so mentally exhausted dealing with it, and also the threat of a lawsuit. I was just like, I don't want to keep going down this hole, you know. I'm just gonna let things play out, and as things have played out, I think more and more people are like, yeah, you know, I'm not gonna be like blind to this shit anymore. The article writer is in chat. Discord him. Oh shit. Yo, where's he at? Is it just Leader Grev? Yo, what's up, bro? Hi, author of the story here. I wrote the post story. Yo, what's up, bro? Nice story, dude. Yo, thanks for the article. I really appreciate it, honestly. I mean, I think a lot of people appreciate it. I think anybody who was ever affected by fucking Reggie super appreciates it. So you did a great thing, and I'm sure it took a lot of work. I think the biggest problem with these, by the way, guys, is how hard it is to get people to take the time to speak to you about it. Like even people who are just directly affected, they just don't want to have to deal with it. It's stressful. There's fear of retaliation. You're putting yourself at risk and spending a lot of time, and you're talking about something that's like deeply uncomfortable and unsettling for you. So like, I think it's so hard for this guy to have gotten so much evidence and to have gotten such a substantial article together. And like, that's Giga Chad, actual. That's so hard to do. It must have taken him a really long time and just been so difficult the whole time. DM'd on Twitter a while ago. Get in touch. Oh shit, bro. All right, I got you. I'll message you back on Twitter actually. Get on voice. I mean, do you have anything to say, bro? You sorry for the donut wall. I mean, like, no pressure. If you have anything, you know, even if you just want to say like fucking 2 things, but you know, if you don't want to, don't reveal your sources. Don't march, stoking the fire over here. It's lawsuit time. I would love to come, but I'd probably have to clear it with editors first. No worries, dude. I think that's exactly like reasonable. Thank you for the article. It was content enough. I think you did great, bro. Did the reporter confirm if the house is indeed for sale? Joe Marsh is such a drama maker. It's crazy. I fucking love it though, honestly. It must be so funny to see. It's just like another person in your job title, CEO, but to see such a fucking CEO gap, you know? Like at the end of life, like right as Joe Marsh is like about to fucking pass on to heaven, he's like whispers to his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, CEO diff, thinking about Reggie. I think the best part about all this stuff is like me and Leena, we don't even need to talk about it anymore. There is just so much stuff out there now about TSM and about Andy. We don't even need to talk about it. Like, I'm just here. I'm drama baiting. I'm just reading the fucking article. I know. Leena didn't want to talk about it. I know. I'm sorry.
I was so mad at Peter when it first came out because part of the problem is people not telling the story correctly, people like distorting your account and your words, and I just was fine to kind of like take this to the grave and not talk about it, because people that want to discredit you, and especially fans, after everything that I've given TSM, after everything that I helped them build, it's like, you guys are not, like, for some of those fans, they think that they're a fan of TSM, right? But they're not a fan of what Andy gave them. They're a fan of what I gave them. I was so pissed. And like, they're a fan of what Bjergsen gave them, and like the trophies, all the good times you had supporting the teams, like that's not. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. You can continue.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, Leena was definitely really mad because I didn't do a good job. Like, it was very abrupt, and it wasn't planned. But, you know, I just did what I fucking always do, and I opened my mouth. And that got, you know, that got us in trouble. You know, it got us in trouble with the community. It got us in trouble. It got, like, me in trouble, like, fucking potentially legally, financially. My entire life could change. It just opened this can of worms that was not, like, ready to be opened. So I think Leena definitely is right to feel upset about, like, the way that I brought it about. I don't think, yeah, Leena definitely didn't want to even talk about it. She just kind of wanted to take that huge fucking L of an experience and just move on. But I think, like, constantly refreshing the wound and just poking at it, like, did that really happen? Hey, like, it wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't that bad. I don't even think, like, what you're saying is real. Like, I don't think that anything bad happened. I think you're just mad. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I know what's true. And so I can totally understand why Leena was, like, really, really upset. The whole thing came out. And I think my intention when I first talked about it was I really wanted something to hold this guy accountable for being a terrible person. The way that I did it was totally idiotic, and I think I could have done it like a lot more intelligently. I'm just happy that my like fucking stumbling forward approach ended up with some good results like this. I'm not gonna say that he would have got away with it if I didn't fucking just like blurt out some stupid shit on stream, but I think it would have taken a little longer, or like I think I could have definitely done it in such a better way where it's just completely bulletproof. What did Leena do? I mean, she literally built everything and treated everyone at the company well, kept every employee happy. Like, everyone who worked with Leena only has good things to say about her, even when, like, while they work together and even when they leave TSM, they appreciate Leena. This random producer that you guys probably have never even heard of, like, Leena probably had a ton of good experiences with Chrissy. And then she ended up getting shouted out like at the end of this really emotional post. Like, people definitely remember Leena as like somebody who's a good boss to work with, a great person, like very caring, and also just really good at her job. Like, no one is ever gonna say like, wow, Leena fucking sucked, because like she built like the Fortnite team, she built like half the fucking league rosters. Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys hear her? She hired Max and Andrew. She did all the content that you guys love. Like, fucking TSM Legends was Leena's idea. Fucking half of the funny ass videos, like eating challenges, playing Pictionary. So much of the funny moments from like that you guys remember from TSM is because of her. So yeah, I mean, I think Leena definitely did like almost everything for TSM. And actually, when I was on CLG, this is a random story, and you guys are gonna think I'm super biased, but it's actually true. So our CEO on CLG, his name was Malixia. He's actually a streamer now, I think, but back then he was our CEO in 2015, and he got back from a, like, I don't even remember what it was. It was like some sort of business thing with TSM. So he came back from this trip with TSM, and then he told us, yo guys, do you want to know a secret that I just found out? And I was like, what? Yeah, just kind of interested. And he said, dude, I just kind of like went in with TSM and like looked at how their company works, and I think that Leena does everything there. And my mind was blown, because, you know, at the time it was like a totally different fucking scene. It was like, you know, Leena is just, you know, the boss, the guy who's doing everything. Reginald, she helps, she's just supplementing that, but I didn't think that she was like actually doing everything. And it only found out later that like she actually was. She kind of was just hard carrying from behind the scenes, just like quietly. Yep, Devin Nash, that's him. That was 2015 when my CEO said that, and I was like so surprised to hear like, what? Leena does everything at TSM? Are you sure? I don't think half of us really believed it, to be honest, but I do remember it. Yo, what's up, Chrissy? How's it going? I appreciate your tweet. I think it's cool that you shouted out Leena too, because I think she's definitely one of the good ones. I can tell you guys straight up that like Leena is the smartest person when it comes to just any sort of conversation that I would have about like the space that I'm in, which is esports content creation. Leena's the smartest person to talk to about anything, which is why my career as a content creator has only like gotten better and better since I retired. Is like, I actually don't know where I would be. I'd be in such a worse place if it wasn't for Leena. So she's like very, very fucking good. She definitely hard carries. Leena's the only person who actually, this is what Chrissy says. Leena's the only person who actually cared about any of the shit we were going through. Yeah, I mean, she's a very caring person.
I know the person. I know the person that the middle management person that some of these allegations are about, and I have like had multiple meetings with other people in the upper management about how this person is not fit to lead like this group of people, because they basically took content team, which was a division that I built up from under me. They took my content team. They took my content team and they promoted someone to run it, and then I had multiple people, I'm gonna cover the booba. I had multiple people come to me from the content team and told me that, you know, like they're having a really bad time, you know, all these different like allegations that had happened. Yeah, I would go then to the person who took my content team and tell them like that's not okay. And then, you know, obviously like the people in upper management at one point, you know, there was 2 people above me that kind of told me like it's not your team anymore, it's not your division anymore, so there's like nothing I could do.
Yeah, Leena got her fucking yoinked. Yeah, her job got yoinked by someone who's horrible. Chrissy says, I advocated for pay equality on the content team, and then a dude I recommended and I'd be managing got offered more money than me. Jesus. Wait, so you're managing somebody and you recommended them previously and they got ended up better fucking pay than you? The fuck? Corporate hell. Honestly, like TSM is the Dark Souls of fucking esports. If you want to have like the toughest fucking time of your entire life, it's time to get a one-on-one meeting with Andy. What else is there to even talk? What else is there to even fucking see? TSM signed Xmithie as new academy coach. Why would they announce this the day of this? No, they did. This announcement came at 10 a.m. and this article came out 8 hours ago. This is probably not the best time to announce Xmithie, but you know what? Happy for Jake, he got a job. Hopefully he doesn't have to do any one-on-ones. I think like the real truth is, guys, that the LCS is not happy about these things coming to light and they would rather have solved it privately. And the reason why is because it makes LCS kind of look bad, right? Like one part of their product is TSM. A huge percentage of TSM fans, or sorry, a huge percentage of LCS fans are familiar with TSM. A lot of them liked TSM in the past. A lot of them probably still like TSM. They're still TSM fans. They'll be TSM fans till they die for some reason. Who knows why? Fucking probably the same way fucking like Harvey Weinstein still has fans. It's just like you to just completely ignore your surroundings and just put your head in the sand. But I think it's bad for LCS in the way that like one part of their product has a really horrible reputation, and TSM is a part of their product, right? TSM paid to integrate themselves into LCS. They're in the franchise. They're going to stay in LCS forever. And for this negative stuff to come out, it paints LCS negatively because they have to do something about it. They can't say nothing. TSM is always going to show up in their content, always going to play in their league, always going to be a team that they speak highly of, right? Like, oh, boom, LCS, TSM is in the finals. TSM, one of the longest standing organizations. We're going to ignore the part where they don't treat their workers like humans. Founded by a fucking former professional League of Legends player with 0 communication skills. Reginald! And like, the crowd goes wild. Of course, they're going to have to like present TSM positively because they're part of the team. So LCS doesn't like this stuff happening. They are not happy about probably my stream. They're probably not happy about these articles. Yeah, I'm getting chills. I'm getting goosebumps. Of course, it's so epic. Anyone remember videos of Reggie? I was yelling at Reggie to leave him the fuck alone. Reggie was just laughing. Anyone with half a brain who saw that video knew there was abuse in TSM. It's not surprising to see TSM struggling both in and out of game. You have a high turnover rate and all of the employees are afraid to speak up, and half of them can't even do their jobs because the fucking CEO is so incompetent. So definitely, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, you get this feeling that the org is checked out, but like the org is comprised of the individuals, and like sometimes a single individual like Leena or like Parth or just like the right player like Bjergsen is gonna make, like, I would say I made a really big change with TSM's culture, right? Like when I was on the team, I changed like everyone around me just a little bit. Like everyone has an influence on them, on the people around them, and like if you're just straight up afraid to do your job, you're just gonna be checked out. And that's the way that people get the feeling of like, oh, TSM's struggling, like why aren't they, it's just, everything just feels so mid about them now. So yeah, it's because there's not a lot of competent people there anymore. Everyone who's competent is on the way out or they're already left. Where are all those people who called Doublelift a drama baiting liar? Like he said, one day those people will come out, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happens. No one coming to verify Doublelift's story, while so many ex-TSM pros and Jack said he's a swell guy. This seems like an absolute win for Reggie. Oh, nice. I'm glad that you know, people are shouting me out here, because that whole thing was really stressful. Doublelift was probably the only person with a big enough presence to call Reggie out, but it must have been for the drama, right? So many people here were straight up denial and failed to understand the power dynamic between owners, orgs, and players, which is why not many former TSM players wanted to corroborate DL's experience in TSM. I'm glad that we got new insight on the corporate side of their business, where it is now confirmed that the culture of fear also happens to be ever so present in their LoL scene. Can't wait for Spooky to finally leave and tell us what the hell was going on over there for the last split. And like, I don't think that his story will come out ever, right? I don't think like anybody who's playing professionally on TSM is gonna come out and like shit on them. Maybe like fucking one day their Chinese players are gonna come, you know, they're gonna go back to China and have not a single inclination to ever come back to NA, and they're gonna talk about it. But like, powerful people just stay powerful. You don't want to burn your bridge that way, and just now, instead of having 10 potential employers, have 9 potential employers. You're gonna want to fucking smile and grit your teeth, because at the end of the day, self-preservation and the ability to like make a living is way more important than like your fucking ethical values. And I don't in any way think that like that's good. Like that's pretty fucked up, right? But if I have the choice between working for a shit boss or working for like 6 figures plus, or working at McDonald's, I'm working for the shit boss. I don't care enough to like swallow my fucking, you know, pride. I mean, not even swallow my pride, but like, you know what I mean? I'm more willing to like kind of breach my own morality because it's a practical thing to do. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they will. And like, if they do, respect for standing up for what's right. It is not easy, right? You're risking so much. You're just risking a lot. I don't blame them at all if they choose to say nothing. No, I don't have to, right? Because I'm like fucking, I don't have to swallow my tongue. And I never will, because I'm lucky as fuck. I'm a fucking 10K viewer streamer. Like, I am so happy that you guys are here and that I have a community that's like fucking chill and it's good, and life's going good for me, and like my content's going great, and like I don't have to do that. I'm talking about people who have the choice between playing pro or going back to high school. Yeah, dude, like I think it's a little late to finish your GED. Like, okay, it's not too late to finish your GED, but you guys know what I mean, right? Like, these people are in their 20s now. What does life have to offer them anymore? Their entire fucking, they put all their eggs into the league esports basket. It's really risky to damage that, especially to call somebody out who is so powerful. You know, Jack came out and defended Andy, said he was a great guy. What do you think is going to happen if you become the enemy of fucking one of the most powerful owners? Bad things, only bad things, okay? No good things, that's for sure. You're not going to get any more job opportunities for fucking speaking your truth. You're only going to get screwed over potentially. I mean, like, obviously it's not guaranteed, but like, you're definitely limiting your options. Yeah, I mean, like, guys, it's I don't even want to get into Jack, but like the whole thing is fucked, right? Like, you have these guys who own $100 million esports organizations backing each other up when there's just mountains of evidence. Of course they're gonna be buddies. What else do you expect? Do you guys think that we live in the same world? One person founded a fucking esports empire that is worth 410 million like 3 years ago, and the rest of us, I mean, I didn't want to say us, like I also live in a different world, but like I'm assuming like the average person in Twitch chat, you guys are either going to school or you're working 40 hours a week, and you're going to be happy to make, you know, 100K by the end of your 20s, 100K a year. It's totally different worlds that we all live in, and it's not that surprising that you can get away with this shit and that you can abuse your power, because To them, it's just as easy as snapping your fingers and you don't have a job. No repercussions, nothing. It damages your brain for sure, dude. Like, he could not get away with this shit if he was a janitor. He couldn't. Yay, I'm the proletarian hero. Doublelift was one of the few people who kickstarted. Very few people have his brand value. He's basically untouchable. One of the biggest NA names by far. Some random employees want to start some shit. Do you think anyone will listen? I don't think I'm untouchable, guys. I think I definitely lost a lot of respect from a lot of people when that came out. I could feel it. You know, I could feel it. I think, you know, there's always that subsect of like crazies who's like, you'll cancel anyone for anything, man. Like, wow, I guess, you know, being a tough and caring and passionate boss just means that you're a bully. Disgusting, ego, drama baiting frog. Like, never watching your stream again. I don't think that I'm untouchable, and I think a lot of people actually really fucking dislike me. They have a lot of reasons for it. You know, I'm pretty much a dumbass, so I think there's a lot of I think a lot of people have a good reason to dislike me. But I think you know, I was a pretty polarizing player when I played too, and I definitely I made a lot of people who didn't really like me. And also the league community just in general is pretty toxic. It's clearly time for Andy to step away from the team. Hopefully his replacements treat TSM employees with respect and stops trying to abuse and steal from them by misclassifying them. True. So I don't think LCS is ever going to force him to divest from TSM. I feel like that's too much. I feel like the LCS like most reasonable course of action is they are going to keep quiet as long as possible. And then maybe they're just going to make some sort of feel-good post about how, you know, we've conducted an investigation. We have decided it's to be appropriate to like find them or to make Andy not interact with just specifically the league team. But they're never going to kick TSM out of the league, man. They're never going to do that. I just don't think so. Like it'll feel like such a huge thing for them. It's in their best interest to just kind of look the other way for as long as possible. $410 million evaluated company kicking them out of the league. It's just better for them to just fucking stick their head in the sand. I know it's not fair, but like it's the best for them. It's selfishly the best for them. That's why I don't think this would ever happen. I would love for that to happen. If there's justice in this world, this would happen. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't think they can force him to sell, man. Like, I just don't think so. TSM is bigger than just LCS. LCS is just one. Before that would happen, he would just sell his spot in LCS straight up. Like, before any of that stuff would ever happen, step down as CEO, he would fucking turn everything into flames and just forcibly sell his spot in LCS to some other sucker who's fucking willing to pay like 20 mil for an LCS spot for some reason, you know? Like, it's so worthless to him. You think a $410 million evaluated company CEO who still owns stock in that shit is just gonna fucking walk away? No, they're gonna go down kicking and screaming. I was working on Blitz as a translator since beta. Yes, I left Blitz after 3 years of translating the website and app. Also some contents, basically they never wanted to pay me. I ended up in a bad mood with some of them, especially the CM. What's a CM? I don't know. Community manager? And I was kicked after a requiting asking for donations in the Spanish channel because I was tired of working. Oh, content manager. Because I was tired for working for free and I wanted to get paid for translating. I'm free if anyone needs a good translator. Even of everything above, yes, I was kind of exploded because even if I was a volunteer, after 3 years I wanted to get paid. They never did. Really disgusting. They never forced me to make something I didn't wanted or for translate something. I need to say that to you. You were never exploited. They just refused to pay you when you're working for them. Classic, dude. I'm telling you, treat your employees like human beings. Challenge impossible. Maple just got announced. Wow. No way. Huge announcement. Don't let Reggie mortal him on a Teams call. Why did they not cancel all this stuff? Who the fuck is working at TSM, guys? No one with a brain. I mean, oh no, actually, I just realized something. No, I shouldn't blame the workers. What am I saying? They probably don't even want to bring up the article to their boss because that might piss off Andy. And they had these tweets scheduled from days ago. So rather than risk poking the sleeping bear, they're just going to go ahead and go with those fucking tweets. Even though like anyone with common sense would tell you that announcing these 2 roster things today is like the worst timing ever. Tweets aren't scheduled in advance? Really? Doug said they were scheduled? Okay, we'll see. Who knows? LCS roster update. Who are these Rands? Okay, dude, I can't anymore. Like, this is too much. I'm pretty sure they just do it, and it's better not to make it complicated because talking to your boss about anything might fucking get you mortaled. No, I don't think that's taking away any attention, you guys. I really don't. I think that was good. I mean, it was good that it all came out. Not good that it happened. Horrible that that stuff has happened and has been, and that, you know, Andy's been getting away with it for so long. But great that, you know, we reading it, hopefully we're comprehending some of it, and like it changes the way that we think about these people. I didn't play a single ad, dude. Not a single one, but watch this. Thank you guys. I'll be back.